If you missed Monday's class and you were looking for that recording, I can do my best to kind of emphasize a few things we talked about on Monday, just to kind of help bring you up to speed. But I do apologize in not having that meeting recording available. It's been some little crazy things going on in my cloud. But on Monday, you guys know we spent a little bit more time going over those reading strategies. We discussed specifically the unit that we're working under, education and motivation. What you guys will notice is how the readings that we've covered so far, one that we'll cover today in class, is connected to this theme of education and motivation. So we're talking about various ideas surrounding education. We talked about beliefs, indoctrinations, attitudes and assumptions that we bring to the table anytime we sit down to learn. And in order to kind of help you guys prepare for what we would cover today, I didn't make it a requirement, but just in students knowing themselves and how you learn best, students were kind of given the heads up to read or preview the Maria Popova text, Fixed versus Growth Mindsets, the basic mindsets that shape our everyday lives. We'll talk about that title in just a minute. We went over specific strategies on Monday, such as annotation, and just what it is or what it looks like when we are actively engaged in the reading process. I don't know if you guys may remember, we talked about the tool, the extension, the Cami app. Did anybody get an opportunity who prefers to read electronically? Did anybody upload that extension that is in our week 3 content folder? Did anybody view the video and download that extension for Cami? Just asking. Hold on, I see something here. Okay, I see Kevin did. Okay, now again, this is only giving you guys options. If you didn't, here, let me take us off share. There are other ways to annotate. I simply just want to make sure that whichever method you use, whether you are annotating electronically, whether you are taking notes, reading notes, jotting them down. I know a couple students emailed me their notes. I received one I wanted to share. I'll share a few with you guys on variations in annotation, but what we will be doing in today's class is we will be reading the Maria Popova text. Students will be actively engaged in annotating the text using the strategies we've talked about, previewing, reading in terms of making inferences and predictions about what the text will inform you or what the text will communicate. We talk about identifying vocabulary words. Let me share really quickly the document in our week 3 module that specifically will help with what we're doing today. And it's not to assume that you guys haven't annotated before. It's just to kind of keep in mind the methods we'll be using in this class. So it isn't kind of an annotate any way that you annotate. Because you guys will be submitting your annotations today, I want to be able to read your annotation. So let me share something really quickly. You guys know anytime I share any information in the weekly module, you guys are responsible for that information. So this module includes a annotation guideline, or annotation, shall I say, suggestions. Okay, so when I showed you guys on Monday my annotations, what I had completed in the reading of the chapter, what thinking like an academic means, I utilized a system where you guys could see how highlight was used, how different color coding systems are used, etc. Look at the annotation guidelines here if you haven't already, to help you with what you'll be doing today. So let me just quickly reiterate this. For annotation, what I want to make sure we do is move away from simply just marking up a page. So I don't want this to be a practice of students highlighting or underlining kind of randomly, right? To where if you were to submit that, I wouldn't know why you selected this or why you highlighted that. Is this a vocabulary word you don't understand? Is this a statement that you agree with? Is this something that you find interesting? So to help me kind of walk through your annotations, I want you guys to kind of keep in mind a few things. Anytime you read or encounter a text, you want to always look for the author's main idea, their main thesis, their main point. So we're going to approach that by highlight. So if you normally highlight, if that is, the tools that you normally utilize when you annotate, let's reserve highlighting only for what you identify as main ideas and key points, okay? So let's not try to like highlight the whole entire document, but specifically when I see highlights, or if you're writing it out in your annotating notes, try to in some form of fashion indicate this is what I am identifying as the author's main idea, okay? So reading in looking at your annotations, I'll be looking at highlights as this is the student identifying main or key ideas, okay? Of course, another way you guys can do that is by rewriting that main idea in the margins. Normally, students annotate in the margins by summarizing those paragraphs. So you have those options. If you are going to do any underlining, sometimes I annotate just by underlining whatever I think is important. For the sake of this exercise and what we'll do throughout the semester, just so that I can follow your annotations, anytime you underline anything, let's keep that to an understanding that these are the supporting details. So where you highlight main ideas, key points, the underline will characterize details that support the main ideas or key points. Okay, so underline could be any examples, any explanations that support or develop the main idea. But let's try to be intentional in how we annotate. Since you guys won't be sitting with me when I review or grade them, I want to have some kind of way to decipher your symbols. So highlight main ideas, key points. If you are writing them down in notes, try to identify it as main idea, maybe label it. For supporting details, again, if you guys are annotating in a text or something that you printed it out and you plan to share by taking a picture, I will identify underline as this is the student identifying supporting details, examples, explanations, things like that. In terms of vocabulary words, I used a system on Monday where I highlighted unfamiliar vocabulary words with the letter blue. Whether you circle, if you're using a color-coded system, let me know the color that you use for vocabulary just so I can follow it. But you guys can either circle unfamiliar vocabulary words or highlight them blue, okay? So we'll say vocabulary is circle or blue. Even if you put like a blue dot by it, something that I can identify that students are making an attempt to identify and define unfamiliar vocabulary words. Question marks or red. You guys remember how I used the color red to identify any information that I was unsure about, or maybe that I disagreed with. So that red would represent caution. So you guys can, any information that you find questionable, that you are not totally 100% on board with, any idea that you disagree with, you can either use a question mark or use that color red, okay? More than likely, if you're not using those symbols or that system, you guys will most likely be taking notes, okay? Let me show you a sample of what annotating notes looks like. Hold on, you guys. Let me stop share for 2 seconds. Just to pull up some, I had some students email me their annotations from Monday, even though I didn't make it a requirement. I'm glad that the students email me just to make sure are my annotations on the right track. Is this what you're looking for? So let me show you guys something really quick. I'm trying not to dictate too much how you annotate. You guys can do it electronically or manually by writing it down, but I do want us to have a system of communication that allows me to follow. So we'll practice that today. Let me show you guys this. It's a little slow pulling up. Bear with me one second. All right. All right. It's still thinking about it. Let me pull up what I worked on Monday as well, just so you guys can kind of have those two options to look at, especially if you weren't here. This is what I'm looking for you guys to produce today. Look, sorry, you guys. I downloaded that document and it's kind of slowing up every other function. Well, this may be a sign I need to up my Wi-Fi.
Excuse me, can I ask you something?
Sure.
Okay, so I was gonna color code it when I did my annotations. Can you tell me if you can read this? So,
Hold on. Let me change my view just so I can get your. I can see your green is the main ideas, question mark, vocab. And so that means that the vocab is going to be like in that yellow color.
yes.
Okay, I see. And then that hot pink is supporting details. I can take it.
Okay.
Yeah, that works. Especially with that key that you gave me, I can view that easily. So that's fine. If you guys were able to see Mercedes she broke down a system. It's clear she's going to be taking notes in her notebook, but the color-coded system that she showed just kind of makes it easier for me to grade and follow those notes. So good. Let me show you guys this. Oh, this is a really good one. Hold on, let me share my screen. All right, so this came in. I'm shouting out Samantha. She sent in a sample, well, a copy of her annotations from the reading homework that we discussed on Monday. And what I like about these particular annotations is it's very easy to follow. So it's kind of bullet pointed and it follows the format and order of the article. So in real time, let's say I'm looking at the article, I can see the movements that this student made in their understanding or engaging with that text. Anything that prompts you to write it down, you either found that compelling enough, important enough, significant enough in the reading. So the fact that it makes it to the paper lets me know you found it significant, meaningful, etc. Just make sure you guys are doing enough in your notes to kind of make it clear whether this is information you agree with, you disagree with, you are summarizing a particular point. But I could follow this very well, Samantha. So this is another option you guys have. Again, taking notes manually. I'm going to stop share for 1 second to pull up the electronic notes that I took on Monday that I shared with you guys briefly. Okay. So on Monday, we kind of went through this. You kind of see my notes here over to the side. So it walks you through my previewing process, what I took away from title, what I took away from subtitles. You kind of follow, highlight is what I'm kind of picking up on being main points, main idea, right? Blue, that was vocabulary, things like that. Anything I agreed with, I kind of used the green triangle. Red was cautious information. I may question it, things like that. So for those who downloaded Kami, that's how you can utilize it to make intentional moves with your reading. I showed you guys the sample from Samantha, and as well as a few others, but I just haven't pulled up. You guys have a good idea of what you are being required to produce with the assignment of annotation. What did they do? So with that being said, did anybody get a chance to take a look at the text, Fixed versus Growth Mindset? Anybody preview that text prior to today's class?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Good. There's a couple of what I call pre-reading questions that I want us to take an opportunity to start pondering. So let's start to think about certain ideas that will help to prompt us for what we'll encounter in the text, okay? So before we go to the actual reading, I wanted to take an opportunity to put us in small groups. Look, I heard this suggestion about a little group work collaboration, but this allows us to put ourselves there mentally in order to receive the material from the text. So I set up today's class by pre-assigning breakout groups, and each group will ponder, look, I keep using that word ponder, consider two main questions. So let me show you guys these questions before I put us into our groups, so that we're all clear on the expectation. And we all kind of know what we will be discussing in those groups. So let me share. All right, so prior again to reading the Maria Popova text, prior to you guys engaging in active annotation, I want us to first kind of think about some ideas that are explored in the text, okay? So we can call this a part of the previewing process. We want to start thinking about the information that will be covered, okay? So each group, when you are put into your individual breakout rooms, each group will ask the members this particular question. Is there a person in your life who has helped challenge you to grow? What's an example of a moment when this person encouraged you to grow? Be specific. So we're starting to think about this whole idea of growth, right? Who in your life has helped you to grow? And what I mean by helped you to grow, challenge you to grow, right? They maybe converse ideas with you, maybe challenge ideas. They may ask you about your goals and dreams or passions in life, right? They may encourage you to chase those goals or really to seek them out, right? So kind of think about who that person is and what an example of a moment when this person encouraged you to grow, okay? Each person in the group will be required to share a response to this question, okay? Also, in the breakout groups, students should be discussing this next question. Have you ever had a relationship in which, because you were very different, you learned from each other? How did you develop an understanding of each other? What did you gain from this relationship? Okay, so it's kind of like me somewhat getting personal, but it really is to kind of getting our ideas generated, right? So that we can kind of really dive into this text, discuss it, and get the most out of it. So the groups, and let me kind of look at how many people I have in here now. 15 of us, that includes me. So I had planned on a group of, that'll be 14. I planned on 3 groups of 4, but I may do 4 groups of 3, and I may kind of add some students to additional groups. So you can look for groups to be in between 3 and 4 people per group. I'm looking to hear from everyone in the group. So I'll individually, I'll jump around to each breakout room just to see how you guys are doing. When we come together to share out as a group, I may ask someone from a group, what did your group, how did your group respond to this question? So it may not be that everybody in the group has to speak up when we come together, but I will look for someone to give me some feedback on how you guys discussed it. So within your groups, kind of come up with who's going to talk when asked about how the particular group did with the questions. So make sure you guys have some idea of that. And I'm going to go ahead and start to drop us in groups. Did you guys have any questions before I do that?
Yes. Would you like us to write this down?
You can write it down, but I'm also going to drop it in the chat. So I'm going to copy and paste this and drop it in the chat so you guys will have it right in front of you. But you can, it's up to you. I'm trying to think too, should I just leave, if I put it on share, will you guys be able to see it? You can feel free to write it down. Look, Mercedes, but I will also be posting it in the chat. All right, that's a good question. What else? Anybody else have any questions about what the expectation is once you guys are in your groups? Anyone need any clarification? Okay. All right, so bear with me just a moment on getting you all put into your breakout rooms. Once I put you there, I'll then kind of drop the information. You guys will have, I'll say about 15 to 20 minutes to discuss this. Uh-oh, I see someone coming in. And again, I'll check in with you guys from time to time, okay? The expectation is that everyone participates. I'm gonna add a room. Okay. Give me just a second. There'll be about 3 to 4 people per room. All right, sorry you guys, bear with me 1 second. Okay. Okay, there may be some, oh no, I see. Okay, I was gonna say some of you are signed in more than once, so it may be some funny stuff, but I think it's okay now. All right, I saw something come in the chat, but I'm opening up rooms now. Okay, so sorry you guys. It's always a little cumbersome getting started with these rooms, so bear with me 2 seconds. I'm dropping some information in this chat, you guys, for you. All right, so that's for this room. Okay, you guys, sorry about that. All right, I think everybody is in rooms and operating. So Natalia, Adatunji. Wonder why did it not? So I have you in breakout room number 1. Oh, I see you. Okay, I see. They're putting you in now. It's just taking it a while. All right, hi you guys. I was just coming in to check and see. Okay, it looks like everyone is placed. Let me drop the information in the chat for you guys to ask the questions. And you guys let me know, are you able to see these discussion questions in your chat? Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, I see you, Natalia. All right. So I'm going to kind of float out, but are you guys okay with getting started? We have the questions. Is everyone ready? Okay, I see you, Natalia. Is it everyone else besides Natalia? Are we all clear on what it is we're doing?
Yes.
Okay, I'm floating out, but I shall return. Don't forget, you guys, look for who in this group, if possible, if I ask you guys, what were your findings? Who would be willing to speak up when we kind of come together as a whole group again? Make sure everyone is responding or answering to the questions. We have about 15, 20 minutes before we share out. Okay, you guys? All right, I'm leaving the room. You in the middle of class, man? This is a disaster. Okay, so I did breakout room 1. I'm gonna go to breakout room 2. All right, hi you guys. I'm just kind of floating in, making sure that everyone has the prompt that you guys are discussing, making sure you guys are able to view it. So if it's been added already, I'm just reposting it. Make sure that everyone in the group gets an opportunity to answer the question. It's posed to everyone, and that you guys have some idea once we share or once we come back together as a class, who would feel most comfortable sharing out. Now, it's not that you have to tell everybody's business. Maybe a summary of what you found should be enough. So how are you guys doing? Are we doing so far so good?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's say about 15 to 20 minutes, you guys. I'll kind of check back in to see where we are then. It's only 2 questions, but they're kind of entailed questions. So maybe the easiest way for you guys to do it is one person just sound off their response next, and until everyone has had a chance to talk about it. If you guys need me, find my name in chat and you can shoot me a message, a question, and I can kind of come right back to the room. Okay. All right. If you guys don't have any questions, I'm gonna go ahead and float off, okay? All right, I'm gone.
Yes.
The second question is, have you ever had a relationship in which, because you were very different, you learned from each other? How did you develop an understanding of each other? What did you gain from this relationship?
Okay. Well, okay. For the first one, I said my mom, but I didn't use like nothing deep. I was just saying like when I was working, she used to like
Right, you guys, I'm just kind of floating in to see how everything is going. Did you guys get all of the questions?
Yes, we got them all, and everybody spoke.
Okay, awesome. So you guys are done already?
Yes.
Okay, so you answered the question on, is there a person in your life, and the other, have you ever had a relationship that you were different?
Yes.
Oh, okay. All right, you guys are on. Okay, try to, I know my other groups, they're still working. So we'll check back in about 10 minutes. So you guys got done a lot quicker than I expected. So let's say, give me about 10 minutes to give the other groups time to kind of work through the questions, and then we will check all back in together as a group, okay? What you guys can do is think of who in the group may be most comfortable speaking up. Look, other than Mercedes, no, I'm playing. You know, in
Yes,
case
I'm definitely not gonna talk. I'm not gonna talk.
but I definitely don't want to discourage you from talking. You know, how
Yes, but
valuable
I
you
want to give everybody a chance to speak up, and they definitely just spoke up.
are.
So,
Okay, cool. So, all right, so I'll check back in with you guys in just a moment.
okay.
It looks like students are doing well in their breakout rooms. We are giving them about 10 more minutes to think about the pre-reading questions and to share out. heck is Yolanda? Who's Yolanda? Emily. All right, we got about 30 more seconds until all the breakout rooms are closed. So we'll get ready to share out. All right. Look, that was my first breakout room attempt of the semester. A little bit tricky with those breakout rooms. So if some of you kind of felt a little lost at first, you'll get a little bit more used to the process. I don't know why it takes so long sometimes for students to actually be placed in the room and for us to close out of them. But from what I heard, kind of peeking in into each room, I heard that you guys were really working thoughtfully through the questions. So I heard some good responses to the questions. But I did want us all to come together and share out together. Look, and I'm glad I didn't miss anybody. Look, we went in with about 14 or 15 students and we still come out with about 14 or 15. So good. So how did everything go in the breakout rooms, you guys?
Everything went well in the breakout rooms. Everybody spoke up
Good.
about every question. The quiet people talked and they talked loud and clear.
Yes.
And it was good.
Good. Yeah, this is that opportunity we really get to kind of hear thoughts and ideas from our peers, and you guys will see how through these discussions, we'll learn how we are similar, right? And how we have more similarities, more things that draw us together, especially in our pursuit of knowledge and our pursuit of education. So we'll have more opportunities to do this, but let's kind of dive into the what I call pre-reading questions. So the goal of you guys breaking off into groups, kind of interviewing each other with these questions, is to help to generate a certain mindset, right? To help to seamlessly usher you into the discussion on growth and on things like that. So the questions you guys were considering was, is there a person in your life who has helped challenge you to grow? What's an example of a moment when this person encouraged you to grow? Be specific. So let me just kind of check in with a representative from the group, and you guys don't have to give me everybody's personal stories, but let's say who, in terms of the person that was identified, who did it tend to be most of the time? Was it a parent? Was it a friend? Was it a significant other? Like, what did you see in your group? What did you see in your group, Kelly? What did you hear more of in terms of who is this person that we all have in our lives who's challenged us to grow?
So it's about a family member or something?
Yeah, now I'm just asking, like, how did the group respond? How did your particular group respond to this question? What did you notice in terms of what your group members or breakout members said? Like, were there similarities between most people identifying a parent? Was it most people identifying a significant other in a relationship, a sibling? How did your group respond to this question?
They responded good, I guess.
Okay, that's fine. Let me ask, let's see, let me ask you really quickly. Let's say Kevin. So Kevin, in your group, for this first question, what did you notice in terms of the responses? Were there any similarities in who people identified as being a person in their life who's helped them to grow?
A parent.
Parent, yeah. I know when I kind of was floating in and out, I would kind of catch maybe tail ends in some cases, but I would hear a parent. Is there anybody who mentioned someone other than a parent?
Yeah, mine is uncle.
I'm sorry, say it again.
Uncle.
Uncle, okay. Oh, yes. So that it extended, even though still close family members, right? Good. I know with this whole word, with the word who has helped challenge you to grow. The word challenge is really important for me when I think about this question, because it was a parent, it was my mother. And you guys know how those parental relationships may go sometimes. Sometimes it is all about nurturing. Sometimes it is about challenging. It's about pushing you out of comfort zones. It's about telling you the truth. In some cases, if that truth may be uncomfortable, but the end goal is always one of growth, one of benefit, right? So parents, uncles, family members, friends. I know in my youth, if I were to pick someone outside of my mother, because she was the definitely a motivating force in challenging me to grow. She would challenge every idea. Not only challenge it, she would almost kind of like make you defend your decisions or your ideas. So it really helped to build in me this kind of critical thinking skill set, because I knew my mother was going to always ask me why. She was going to always ask me to explain it to her. She'll always ask me to break it down to her. So if I don't do it well enough, she would question and question. So I learned to really grow by breaking things down, really focusing in on a goal. So definitely family members, people who love and care about us, right? What about this next interview question you guys were considering? Have you ever had a relationship in which you were very different? You learned from each other. Oh, I'm sorry. You had a relationship in which, because you were very different, you learned from each other. So who wanted to share out? I think I
can
made it
share.
most comfortable with you guys sharing out. Who wanted to share out your group's response to this question?
I can share.
Okay, go ahead, Natalia.
So for instance, my boyfriend is very, very quiet.
Mm-hmm.
He's not a people person at all.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the complete opposite of me. I am extremely loud. I love people. I love being in a crowd.
Mm-hmm.
And we've learned our differences. Like, I hold back a little bit, but I still push him enough to where he's comfortable.
Right.
But still being able to be in the aspect of, oh, I'm meeting new people. Like, this isn't bad.
Yeah.
Or for instance, even trying new things. I'm a really outgoing person.
Mm-hmm.
For instance, I go horseback riding all the time. He's seen a horse once in his life.
Oh, wow. Mm-hmm.
And I forced him to go horseback riding. So like that was a whole other thing. I feel like to a certain point we also push each other in the aspect of car scenery. We're very big car people, if that makes sense. We go off-roading a lot, and he pushes my limits with like steepness and things like that. So like we push each other, but for each other to grow.
Right, right. Oh, I really like that whole explanation, the overall breakdown. So you are more outgoing, loud. He's more people person. He's more quiet, introverted. Look, sounds like the dynamic I have like with my husband as well. I was more introverted. I could do without people most of the time, and with the two coming together, it did allow me to grow, because where I would normally never speak up, where I would normally kind of keep ideas to myself, normally out of fear of judgment, he kind of helped me to be more confident in sharing ideas, knowing that some people may welcome those ideas, may agree with those ideas. So it definitely, in pushing me out of my comfort zone in certain areas, just like you have experienced in your relationship, it does push you to grow, right? I'm sure, just from the example you gave, Natalia, that you've benefited from that relationship, just like your significant other has benefited from that relationship as well. And the fact that it is beneficial, is kind of proven by the fact that you both are kind of growing, where you are. One thing especially with now my age, I've noticed in terms of relationship, not all of them are growing relationships, right? Where something's coming out of it, where we are kind of pulling out the best in each other, right? So that's really not only a special thing to be able to say, but absolutely a really good example in terms of how coming in contact with someone different can broaden horizons, right? Really help us to not only develop an understanding of each other, but also of who we are as individuals. So I like that. What else did you guys want to add to that discussion about a relationship with someone different, where you had to learn from each other, where you guys grew as a result? Anybody else want to add to that? And I know, oh, I'm sorry. I think, go
I
ahead,
could say
Anthony.
for example, my grandma, because even though I didn't really know her too much, I could tell our relationship was very different, as she sort of reminds me of my grandma on my dad's side, because both of them were well, at least one of them are teachers, and for um I kind of feel in some ways different towards for how they think and respond towards certain situations, because of just being brought up differently. But
Right.
we definitely do share a lot of similarities towards as far as goals and things and what we want and things we have to do in order to succeed and be successful.
Right. So you see that you guys have that similar mindset, right? Oh, so much to unpack there. Really good feedback. Sometimes it's not always a significant other, it's a family member. And sometimes in recognizing or identifying those differences, you really see how much you are alike, right? How in being different, you in some ways are the same, but also what I like about what you said is the fact that sometimes it doesn't have to be a overcoming of differences, right? Sometimes it can be an appreciation of the person and the differences that they bring, and you know, their uniqueness or ability or how they approach a situation. I know I have friends, family members who we just think about or approach things differently. And young me, look, immature me, I used to have like low patience for that, right? I would get um I'm just going to be honest. Look, sometimes I could be a jerk. At times I would be, what's the word? Just a lack of patience, especially in my youth. I noticed that was like kind of level of immaturity I had. But normally I'll be impatient by differences. It would kind of be an annoyance, right? But as I grew older, as I kind of opened up my mind to those experiences, I would really find that those different perspectives, those different ideas just gave me opened up how I could look at a particular subject or topic. It also would build in me things like empathy, um, you know, a level of understanding where even if I don't agree with the person, I still am able to, you know, again, understand, you know, where they're coming from and kind of meet them there. All right. So good responses. I know even though I may not have heard from every group, I know that you guys, and kind of dropping in and out of the rooms, that you guys really had a good discussion on that. Here's what I want us to do with the time that we have in front of us. Today's class is really uh, reserved for the reading of this Maria Popova text. So for those of you who have read it already, that is awesome. That's great. But we're going to take time in class to go through a thorough, active read of the text. So during this process, I want students to activate the strategies we've talked about, such as previewing. Here, let me pull up the document for you guys. You know, it is in our Brightspace course page. Let me just show you guys the steps. You know, it's under content. So the text itself, I think it's about 3 or 4 pages long. I normally don't like viewing it in this window. So I'd recommend a download.
Excuse me, ma.
Sure, go ahead.
I have a question, please. This mindset of the thing, I tried to check it on the contact. I couldn't find it on this bright space. I was trying to, read it. I couldn't find it there.
You couldn't find the
Under content, yeah, I couldn't find the fixed mindset over growth mindset.
okay. Stay after class before you before we leave, just so I can kind of just walk you through where to find it. But hold on, I can do that right now, really.
Okay.
From our Brightspace homepage. So you, in going to a Brightspace homepage and clicking on this, what I call banner menu, by clicking on content, it will then give you options. So we're in week 3. So everything we're working on this week is under the week 3 module. And here is the handout, the reading, fixed versus growth mindset.
Okay.
Okay. So this is here, but even if you didn't find it last night, that's okay. That's kind of where you'll find it now. Let me download this link and let me see if I can drop this link in our chat. Okay.
Thank you.
I think that may be easier. All right, so I'm pulling it up here, but bear with me one second. I am attempting to attach this document in chat. I have to remember to add the time on which it takes my computer to move. I see it. Hold on. All right, it's giving me a little bit of issue. All right, bear with me a second on that. I'll add that for just a second. But let's look at what you guys have on this screen. So this comes from the download itself. So once I click on that in our week 3 module and download that PDF, this is how it pulls up. You see the title, Fixed versus Growth Mindset, the 2 basic mindsets that shape our lives. That title is pretty loaded in that it's giving you quite a bit of information about what this text will refer to or what it will cover. And remember, one of the reading strategies is for us to make predictions, right? So based on this title, I know that this text will discuss the 2 basic mindsets that shape our lives, okay? So we're going to learn about a fixed mindset. We're going to learn about a growth mindset. They're going to talk about how these mindsets shape our lives. So by me previewing the text, before I dive into it at all, I know already what I can expect to gain from this text. You guys should always have an expectation anytime you sit down to read a text. What should I be getting out of this text? What is the author trying to tell me? So Maria Popova gives us a little bit more of a preview into the text. So it says here, how to fine tune the internal monologue that scores every aspect of our lives from leadership to love. Okay, so this gives us a little bit more information. It's italicized print. It's kind of leaving breadcrumbs as far as what I can expect to get out this text. It's going to talk about mindset. So internally, how we talk to ourselves, right? How that mindset plays into every area of our lives, whether it's work, in leadership, to our personal relationships. So just from the title and subtitle, I already have quite a bit of information in order to dive into this text. You guys will be reading, you will be annotating, and you will be submitting those annotations or reading notes before you leave class today, okay? Because I know we read at different pace. Some of us may move faster than others. Some of us may get a little bit more into the annotating process. We're going to take a little bit of time. I'll say a little bit more than 30 minutes in terms of reading and annotating. But before we kind of start this portion of the assignment, let me ask, do you guys have any questions? Are there any issues accessing this document? Anything getting in the way of us getting started in terms of annotating and reading through this text?
No questions.
None? Okay. If you guys are able to access the document, go ahead and pull that up. Don't forget that with your annotations, if you are using Kami, which is the annotation extension that we talked about on Monday, use that with the annotation guidelines we just talked about. Highlight main idea, underline supporting details, circle or use the color blue for vocabulary words. Anything you agree with, you find interesting. If you're using electronic green, anything you disagree with, maybe unsure of, we would use the color red. Question marks if you're unsure. Just make sure you're using a system that I can grade and follow. Excuse me. All right, I am going on mute. I'm muting myself so we can go ahead and get started with this reading process. We'll come out on the other end of this, let's say at about 12:45. I'll send the email. So let's take 30 minutes for a read through with annotations. And I'll check in periodically via text or chat. But let me go ahead and let us get started on this. So I'm muting myself and I am working to download a document to chat as well. Even though I'm on mute, I am still here. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to send me a message in chat. All right, the expectation now is that we read and annotate. All right, you guys, at first, we said 30 minutes. Let's take a few more minutes. So we'll take a couple more minutes. Take about, let's say about 10 more minutes. Do you guys think you'll need more time than 10 minutes? About where are we in the process? Are we about 10 minutes enough, or do you guys think we'll need more time?
I think 10 minutes is enough.
Okay, okay. Now, if you guys need longer than that, definitely let me know. I don't want to rush you through the process. So we'll say 10. I'll come back at about 12:58 and see where we are there. If we need more time, we'll take that. Oh, look, I'm sorry. I actually sent that message to Dominique. I meant to send it to everybody. Oh, no. I didn't send it yet. So are you guys ready to discuss? Do we need a little bit more time?
I'm ready.
Wait, where do we submit this at?
Well, I haven't given you guys submission instructions yet. We're going to discuss, and before we leave, I'll tell you guys how to submit. Are you guys ready to discuss?
Yes.
All right. Let's talk about it. Here's one thing that I did not I think include when I was kind of laying out how much time it would take for us to complete this. Taking notes when you read, it'll kind of stop you right in the middle of reading to kind of jot down or acknowledge whatever note. If you came across a vocabulary word that was unfamiliar or new, to stop there and look that word up in order to write down the definition or to develop a working definition. All of that takes time. So when you read individually, will you guys move through this faster? You probably will, but I do want us to make concessions for the amount of time that annotation can add to our writing, okay? This is a step that even though sometimes it may be, take a little extra time, it may seem, what's the point of me doing this? It is a strategy that if you leave this class with nothing else, I definitely want you guys to leave with the understanding and knowledge of the importance of actively engaging when you are reading. Putting it in your mind that this writer is sitting down to converse with you. They're sharing ideas, and it's up to you to decipher those ideas, to get that information out of the text. So let's talk about our annotations. And I kind of let you guys know at the start that you guys would be asked to share your annotations and complete a post-reading activity. So just to kind of make sure I'm able to hear from everyone, I put together a little brief, if you will, questionnaire about our annotation notes. So let me share them with you, and we'll kind of go through them together. My screen. I'm going. All right, here it is. So while I'm pulling this up, what did you guys think about this text? What did we think about Maria Popova's fixed versus growth mindset? Was it an easy read? Was it a difficult read? What did you guys think about the text?
I think it met like right in the middle.
Okay.
It was very interesting reading about how like different people work.
Right, kind of how different people operate. Absolutely. Let's take a look at it. Hold on, let me pull up this annotation check-in. This is what I call it. It is 5 questions, you guys, that pertain to your annotations, the notes that you completed in reading. So let me drop this link for you in chat. You guys will use your notes to answer the questions, and we'll kind of talk about it together. So hold on. Okay. All right, so I dropped the link for our post-reading assessment. I'm now going to pull it up just so you guys can get an idea of what we do with this link. Hold on. All right, let me share my screen. So this is my attempt to really get into your business about how you read the text, what you took out of the text. If annotating appropriately, we should be able to answer these questions rather quickly. But again, you guys are asked in your annotations, one thing we always seek out is the author's main idea. Share with me the sentence or the blurb you highlighted that communicates the author's idea. If you could point to one place in your annotations where you have identified the author's main point or thesis, jot that down here in this field. Students are asked to look at the supporting details. So anything that you underlined in your annotations, try to summarize, if you can, 4 of the most significant supporting details or points you took from the reading. You don't need to go really, really in depth. You can just kind of give me a summarized version. Uh-oh. Sorry. All right, you guys are also using what I call a 1-sentence summary to, again, reiterate what the main idea was. This time you're putting it in your own words. So you guys will be answering that. What are some vocabulary words you identified? Jot that down here with the definitions if you have them ready or handy in your notes. What's one passage that struck you as particularly interesting? So in your notes, what did you identify in the reading that was interesting? What did you feel yourself shaking your head in agreement with, right? Share that particular passage. Let me know why you found it interesting, and then add your name, okay? So we took just minutes to read. Let's take additional minutes, let's say an additional few minutes to answer these annotation check-in questions. Let me see how you guys annotated before you submit them, and then we'll talk about it on the other end. I had something just come in the chat. Let's see. Oh, snap. Sorry. I'm just moving and playing with my mouse and it fell right off the table. All right, let me pull it this way. Look, my bad, babe.
Excuse me, I
Yeah.
tried hitting the link and it's not going through.
It's not going through. Okay, let me
Yeah, when I click the link, it don't
It
take
say
me.
I don't have permission.
you don't have, okay, let me resend it. Hold on. Yeah, so it says only people in my organization. Let me say anyone can respond. Let me resend it. All right, try this one. My apologies.
Yes, that one works.
Okay, good. All right, you guys, let's jot down our notes in response to those questions. Let's try to move a little bit quickly through this if we can. Say about 15 minutes. I'll kind of check in with us there, but let's answer these questions and then kind of talk about it on our way out of class today.
Compare the support team. Compare the support stage of your underline. Identify this should be detailed. Expand your qualified area. No, one thing to summarize from my opinion, idea, create idea, your own word, simplicity, autonomy.
All right, you guys, let's take about 4 more minutes. And even if you don't finish, that's okay. We'll just kind of talk out our, what questions we do have. What will take on the participation or engagement grade for today, it'll be the annotation. So we'll talk about how you guys can submit that. But take about 3 more minutes, finishing up what you can out of these questions, and we'll share right at 1:20.
Okay, ability and conscious responsibility.
Uh-oh. All right. Oh, I haven't been muted. Sorry. All right, so let's go ahead and come out and discuss what we've read. And I know you guys may feel like, it's kind of been a lot of reading. It may be a little bit unconventional from how we've had class, but there's method to this madness, right? The goal has been to model, for us to exhibit certain elements of the reading strategy, especially what we do before. So you guys kind of saw that with the interview process where we kind of discuss or ponder certain questions or ideas that prepare us for the text. Together in class, we went through the reading and annotation process where you guys are actively engaging in conversation with the author. You are intentionally seeking out meaning for yourself. So now let's talk about those annotations. I am in the process behind the scenes setting up the assignment by which you guys will be submitting your annotation. So I'll share that with you in just a second, but let's go over the questions that I wanted us to consider for our annotation notes or our reading notes. Let me share my screen again. Let me pull back up that Microsoft Forms that organized a couple of questions for us about the text. And hopefully what this will kind of show you guys, you may go through quicker steps than this, but on the other end of a reading assignment, we should always have some evidence of that reading, something that we can actually go to, study, review, in order to get the most from the text. A lot of times you guys are asked to write about what you've read, and sometimes those ideas that'll find their way in your writing comes from your annotation. They will come from your notes. So we should really be establishing these skills now, as they will help us throughout the semester. All right, first question in terms of our annotation. Share the sentence you highlighted that communicates the author's main idea. What did we highlight? What is that statement that we identified in the text that communicates the author's main idea? Like to share. I see I have one response in. That's awesome. Oh, 4 responses. So I can look here. Look, I'll use this to help spark the discussion. So somebody said I highlighted Dweck. He found a research and it has to do with the view and inhabit what we consider to be our personality. Okay, so this statement in highlighting Dweck instead of what Maria Popova says, we'll talk about that. But the overall organization of the text, if you guys noticed how Maria Popova laid out her research, how she laid out her overall article, she begins with an introduction. And that introduction does what an introduction should. It gave us some background on these ideas. So before she started talking about fixed versus growth mindset, she first laid out where this idea, where this information, where this psychology stemmed from, where it came from. So she is shouting out her source. She is using the research and the studies of Carol Dweck, who's a psychologist. So we see in the introduction of the text that Maria Popova, who is the actual author, she's, before she talks about her findings, she first wants to introduce you to the information that she referred to for her text. Okay, so if you pinpointed Dweck, you probably need to go a bit further, because in introducing Dweck, she's given us the background, but then she springboarded from Dweck's ideas to her own idea. So we're looking at what is Maria Popova's ideas, main idea of this text. It says the sentence I highlighted that communicates the main idea would be how belief systems about our own abilities and potential fuel our behavior and predict our success. I like that. I think I made a note about that. That was also in that introduction. That this is a good, what I would call a summary or overview of the topic. Okay, so the topic is about our mindsets, our belief systems, and how they inform our behaviors. That's the topic. But when we look at things like a main idea or a thesis statement, we're looking at how the author took a topic and addressed it. How are they presenting their viewpoint or their opinion about that topic? So we have the topic, which I see this second response here definitely identifies the topic. But anytime we're looking for a main idea, we want to know what is the author's position on this topic. Okay, and we do know that Maria Popova agrees with Carol Dweck. She cites and quotes Carol Dweck, so we know that she agrees with these ideas that your behaviors, they tend to inform or fuel our behaviors and predict our success. This is true, but Maria Popova uniquely has an idea she attaches to that. Let's see. So she just builds on that, but that's good. I think that's, you're definitely in the area, you know, the right place in terms of where to locate that main idea. But it was just a little bit further down in the intro. Let's see. I see someone says growth mindset creates a passion for learning rather than a hunger for approval. This is more into the topics or more ideas about the mindsets. We know we're talking about fixed versus growth. So that gives information about that. I see ability, potential, behavior, and prediction to success. Yeah, that's similar to what this student wrote here in this second response. How it's a belief system about our abilities and how they fuel our behavior. An inquiry into the power of our beliefs, both conscious and unconscious, and how changing even the simplest of them can have profound impact on nearly every aspect of our life. I like this as well. Again, it's right in the ballpark. This is the topic again, the motivating or driving force in the text. Let me see if I can find something that directly pinpoints the author's thesis differently and changes over time. I like this. It's growth mindset. One won't grow with the fixed mindset because they are set in their ways, but you will learn and grow more with the fixed mindset. Okay, so that's kind of some detail. So I see details, but main idea, I see we do have a good idea in some cases of what that main idea is, how our behaviors shape our, how our mindsets and beliefs shape our behaviors. But Maria Popova went a little bit deeper. She went specifically into what that looks like. And that's what I kind of wanted you guys to hover around or identify or pinpoint in your reading. Let me highlight it. Because sometimes when we read, authors will have what they call an implied main idea. So one that they may not thoroughly state, but it's implied in, let's say, the details or the explanations included. We also have texts where the author will explicitly include their main idea. That means it is written out, it's stated. You can go or point to a particular sentence to communicate that. This particular article has an explicit thesis. This author wrote out their thesis statement or main idea on which their entire text is based. Do you guys see this sentence that I highlighted? Do you see that highlighted blue? And it's only blue just because I did it with my mouse. Normally, you guys were turning this in on your annotations. It could be yellow, whatever would constitute as a highlight. But do you guys see this statement? It says, out of these two mindsets, which we manifest from a very early age, springs a great deal of our behavior, our relationship with success and failure in both professional and personal contexts, and ultimately our capacity for happiness. So this statement, if we could go to any one statement in the text that communicates accurately, identifies the author's main idea, it is this last sentence in what I call the introduction portion of the text. Okay, so let me show you guys this really quickly. So look at the beginning. We kind of see this background. So you guys will see, if you've already viewed the basic essay structure video that's in our week 3 module, it breaks down how writing organizes our ideas, right? So as readers, we want to kind of be mindful of how we make those same moves in our writing. So look at how the introduction. She goes into, first, before I talk about my ideas, let me give credit to the person on who these ideas are based. So she talks about Carol Dweck. This is the research on which her writing is based. So she talks about that. She summarizes Carol Dweck's research, the findings. She's kind of points out, defines fixed versus growth mindset. She's going to pick these ideas up, but in her discussion of these mindsets, she's going to talk about how not only do they shape our behavior, but they also shape our relationship with success and failure. and they also shape our understanding of professional and personal relationships. So ultimately leading to our capacity to be happy. Anytime you guys are looking for the author's main idea in the text, normally the two places that I would point you to really seek that out is in the introduction. So we kind of have it here, just like you guys will learn. You should never open up with your main idea. So you don't really want to look too close to the beginning for the author's main idea. Normally, they have to bring you into their discussion. So allow space for background, allow space for introduction, allow space for context, right? So here they gave you background, introduction, and context before leaving you with the author's main idea or how they plan to approach these mindsets. Okay, so we see that there. Another place I wanted to show you guys, if ever you're stuck on how to identify the main idea, intro and conclusions, normally intro will introduce the main idea, conclusions will reiterate it and summarize that. Okay, so if you miss it early on, come to the conclusion, come to these last couple of paragraphs and seek out the author's main idea, here as well. So it says, when it all comes down to it, it says a mindset is an interpretive process that tells us what is going on around us. And then they kind of break down again. They summarize fixed mindset. They summarize growth mindset. And it says it's the internal monologue is not one of judgment, but one of voracious appetite for learning, constantly seeking out the kind of input that you can metabolize into learning and constructive action. So here she goes here. Duet goes to explore how these fundamental mindsets, what their defining characteristics are in different contexts of life, and how we can rewire our cognitive habits to adopt the much more fruitful and nourishing growth mindset. So this too winks at the author's main idea in that it talks about how we can take control of those behaviors. When we're aware of these mindsets, we can then use them to adopt more fruitful and nourishing mindsets. Okay, so you guys see that. Let me go quickly back to the question. I'm aware time is getting away from us so quickly. Let me look at something else. What are some details you guys identified? Let's see here really quickly. So here, when we talk about supporting details, we're looking at what are some examples. So she laid out for us what she plans to discuss in the text, how our approach to these mindsets can define our successes and failures in professional, personal lives, right? So we're looking for details that support this. Let's see what we have. Sorry, you guys. All right, I see some quotes here. So this is the details. A fixed mindset assumes that our character or intelligence is static. It can't change in any meaningful way. Growth mindset thrives on seeing failure as evidence. Yet all of this, all that you guys have included, works as details. Here where you guys are laying out, because here's what they did over and over again. They gave multiple examples of, first of all, here's what a fixed mindset looks like in terms of behavior. So they gave us examples of the study that Dweck gave about participants completing a puzzle. They talked about her research where adolescents were given an IQ test, or they tested or looked at their brain waves when they were answering difficult questions. They talked about how growth and fixed mindset can be applied to personal relationships, right? How are we viewing our significant other as our soulmate, as this fixed entity, that they are perfect just the way they are? Are we aware that in relationships, sometimes challenges is our opportunity to grow and kind of get closer together? Any identification of those things, they all apply and fall under supporting details, because once the author made her thesis statement, when she made her claim, her main idea that these mindsets affect how we approach professional and personal life, then the details will be the examples that she gives of this. So the length of the article itself was Papa laying out the evidence, her laying out the details that prove her main idea that how we approach these mindsets will determine our professionals and personal lives. So anything that ties into those details, you guys definitely will get credit for that. The one sentence summary, we'll talk more about that on Monday. What about vocabulary words? There were quite a few vocabulary words here that could have thrown you. It's a scientific research. We're talking about the work of a psychologist, Carol Dweck. So I see things, dichotomy, oh yes, platitude, immensities, jarring, aptitude, temperance, good. So we gathered some good vocabulary words, debunking. Now I think that other word was adolescence, but yeah, all of this, basic characteristics, immutably. Okay, good. When we read, when we annotate, we don't want to treat words like they're speed bumps where we're just like, oh, moving on. You guys, in stopping to identify those words and writing them down, you are building your college level vocabulary. Good. Let me see. I'm kind of jumping around. What passage, and I'll kind of end with this. What passage struck you as particularly interesting and why? So let's see what you guys said here. Ooh, because I heard you, Natalia, when we opened up, you talked about how the article as a whole, you found it to be interesting, right? But what specifically? Let's see. So I see a lot of you guys are picking up your understanding of these mindsets, how they're breaking them down. So one passage that stood out, a student identified a growth mindset, understands that their talents and abilities can be developed through effort, good teaching, and persistence. Oh, I like that one. Yeah, so good. So that's something as you guys are reading and annotating, maybe you put a star by it, or you under normal circumstances would highlight it, but anything that you readily agree with, that you find yourself shaking your head with, or maybe raising your eyebrow when you read it. Those are those moments in the text that a lot of times students respond to in their writing. So you want to look for those moments in your reading as well. It says that it creates a passion for learning rather than a hunger for approval. Ooh, I like that. It says, I think this stuck out to me because stuck out to me the most because it's leading on to more than what is saying. In addition, it's saying people should enjoy learning more than finding the correct answer to survive. Yes. It's not so much about being right or being perfect, right? The fixed mindset has this idea that subscribes to natural abilities, right? That goes back to that question we talked about in the reading survey. Do you feel that some people are good writers and some people aren't, right? A fixed mindset would feel that some people have it, some people don't. They don't look at it as a skill that through effort and through learning and practice, one could get better at, right? So we do need to address those ideas. It talks about, oh, we're right at 140. All right, let me read this last one and we're getting out of here. Ooh, the passage that mentions why present is more important than, was that praise? I remember that, the passage on why presence is more important than praise. Was that it?
No, it was right in the top sentence of the passage.
Okay, so I'll look back at that. Look, I don't want to keep you guys any longer than I already have. Let me, growth mindset thrives on challenges and sees failure not as evidence. So yeah, so failure doesn't mean I'm a failure. It just may mean that I may need to get better at this particular concept. This is good. Here, let me stop share for just a second. I'll take a look at other responses you guys have, but you guys want to turn in your annotations to me. Let me show you quickly how to do that. There is an assignment that has been added to Brightspace. I'll put it under our content, but let me show you guys really quickly where you would go to submit your annotations. You guys can submit that at any point. today, over the weekend, as long as I get it by Monday. Okay, you guys want to make sure you're submitting that. Or at least at the latest is Monday. If you guys have it now, go ahead and get it to me now. But let me show you Brightspace, where you guys will find this. I'll post a link in our announcement. So I'll post a link for you guys, but just really quickly to run through, it's under assessments. You'll go to assignments. It is the fixed versus growth annotations. I'm setting it up so that it allows you guys to submit a file instead of the text. So I don't know if you remember about any previous assignments, but when you guys did the syllabus quiz and when you did the diagnostic, it required that you guys type or copy and paste your answers in that field. This particular assignment calls for file uploads. So because I know that a lot of us are doing our annotations either by hand, you can take a picture, email that file to yourself so you can download it and then upload it here on Brightspace, okay? If you are using the electronic annotations through Kami, you can still download a file of your annotations and you can upload it here under the assignment itself, okay? You guys are getting my view, so you can't really see how you'll see it on your end, but it'll give you, as soon as you click on that assignment, it'll give you a submission page with the instruction. So you guys, again, would just click to upload that particular file, okay? So to help make it easy, I'll do what I normally do. I'll add a link, add that instructions, and if you guys have any questions about it, you can email me, okay? All right, I'm 3 minutes over, so I'm totally done. If you guys have any questions, stay after. Other than that, thank you for your time today. Thank you for reading and engaging. Thank you for completing the form. I'll be updating the grade book. So if you guys notice that you turned something in, but you haven't seen it show up on the grade book, just know that I'll be making all those updates this week. If you guys have any questions, feel free to email me. I'll send out an announcement. Enjoy your weekend. We have our first textbook reading assignment next week. So if you're still working on getting your text, just know that we have that next week. All right, my good people. Enjoy your Wednesday. What's left of it. Have a good
See
one,
you.
Kelly.
Hello, ma.
Yes, yes.
Adetunji, ma. I would like to tell you thank you very much, ma, for your efforts, for your knowledge imparted on us. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I have a few questions to ask you, ma.
Okay.
Yeah, I missed the first day in class.